There is a sentence that has ruined more lives than most vices. It is spoken quietly, internally, with a feeling that resembles prudence. It sounds like planning. It sounds like wisdom. It sounds like the responsible thing. The sentence is this: once things settle down, I will begin to live. You know the sentence. You have said it in 100 forms. Once I finish this project. Once the children are grown. Once I have enough saved. Once the relationship stabilizes. Once I retire. Once I get through this difficult season. The forms shift, but the structure is always the same. Real life is located just past the current moment, waiting in a clearing that will appear once the present thicket has been crossed. And so the present is treated as a corridor, necessary but transitory, a passage to somewhere else, rather than as the only place where life actually occurs. Seneca named this condition with a precision that has not been improved upon in 2,000 years. He called it the postponed life, and he understood it as the most common form of self-destruction. Not dramatic. Not violent. Simply slow, patient, and complete. The man who postpones does not collapse or surrender. He waits. He defers with the best of intentions. He is not lazy, he is often ferociously industrious in service of the future life he imagines. But the future, being future, never quite arrives in the form expected. When the clearing appears, there is always another thicket visible just beyond it. And the habit of deferral, practiced long enough, becomes indistinguishable from the character. The danger is in the plausibility. Postponement is so easy to justify. There genuinely are moments when conditions are not right, when resources are insufficient, when the timing is poor. There genuinely is such a thing as prudent waiting. The difference between preparation and postponement is real, but the line between them is thinner than most people like to admit, and the direction of drift is always toward deferral. Because deferral is comfortable. It removes the risk of the present moment. It preserves the beauty of the imagined future, uncomplicated by contact with reality. The imagined future is always cleaner than any future that actually arrives. The version of yourself that exists in the someday, calmer, wiser, freer, more certain, never has to meet Tuesday afternoon with its particular texture of difficulty and limitation. That version waits in a kind of perfection that the actual present can never match. And so the present is perpetually devalued. The life you are living now is always pre-life, a rough draft, a rehearsal. The real thing is coming. You will get to it shortly. Seneca says, while we are postponing, life speeds by. Dum differtur vita transcurrit. Read that again with the full weight it carries. Not, while you are postponing, life is passing. But, life speeds, it accelerates, it rushes, it does not wait patiently for you to finish your preparations. The Latin word transcurrit has urgency in it, the sense of something running past. Time does not drift or linger. It moves at a pace that only becomes apparent in retrospect, and by then the reckoning is painful. Think of the person who spent 20 years planning to write. Who kept a journal of ideas, who read about craft, who said regularly that when the children were older, when the job was less demanding, when the house was finally in order, they would sit down and actually do it. And eventually they did sit down, in a life now different in ways they had not anticipated, and found that the ideas had cooled and the courage had grown unfamiliar, and the 20 years of practice they had not done were all at once visible in the gap between what they intended and what they could produce. The postponement did not preserve the possibility. It consumed it. This is what Seneca understands that the postponer does not. Time is not a storage medium. You cannot bank experience for later. The capacity to live fully, to think clearly, to love well, to engage with existence with your complete faculties, these are not stored and waiting. They are either exercised or they atrophy. The person who defers the examined life does not keep it safe in some interior vault. They lose the very equipment needed to live it. There is also the question of what the future actually is. We speak of it as though it were a place, as though someday were a location on a map that can be reached by continued travel in the same direction. But the future is not a place. It is a prediction, and our predictions about it are almost invariably wrong in ways we cannot anticipate. The life you are waiting to begin is waiting in a world you cannot accurately imagine. The version of you who will eventually inhabit that world will have been shaped by everything you did or did not do in the meantime. You cannot opt out of the present and collect your real life later. The present is what makes the future self. To understand this fully is not cause for despair. It is cause for something more useful, urgency without panic. Seneca is not telling you to live recklessly or to abandon all future orientation. He is telling you to stop treating the present moment as raw material for a life that will happen somewhere else. The materials are here. The time is now, not in the rhetorical sense, but in the literal one. Now is when things happen. Decisions made now shape what will be possible then. The conversation you keep deferring, the book you keep meaning to open, the relationship that you keep saying you will invest in when things are less complicated, these are not waiting for you. They are changing, or ending, or simply passing through a window that will not remain open. What would it mean to live today as though it were actual life and not a rehearsal? To bring to this particular Tuesday the quality of attention and intention you have been saving for someday? Not to perform urgency, not to manufacture drama about the passage of time, but simply to ask, what would I do with this day if I understood clearly that it is not preparation for something else? If I understood that this conversation, this afternoon, this work, this thought, is the actual substance of my existence? The answer to that question, taken seriously, changes everything. Dum differtur vita transcurrit. While we are postponing, life speeds by. That was episode 4 of our Seneca series, on the shortness of life. Someday is not a day. It has no date, no location, only the feeling of safety it provides while life moves past you. In episode 5, Seneca reveals who he considers the only people who have truly lived, and it is not who you expect. Subscribe to StoicForge so you don't miss it. Like this video if Seneca made you think. This is StoicForge. Ancient wisdom. Modern edge.